Hello, today's lesson is about the radius and diameter of a circle. So the radius is any line segment joining the center to a point on the circle. It is half the size of the diameter. So we are given right now, if we see this first example, we're given a line that connects the center of the circle to another point on the circle. And this line is called the radius. And it's represented by a small case r. So in order to start this, we always start with the center point on the circle, and it doesn't matter which direction we draw the radius. So for instance, I could start at the center, and as long as I touch a point on the circle, I've drawn a radius. So would you please now draw another radius? And once again, your radius can go in any direction. I'm going to draw this here. Next, the diameter is a chord, and we'll discuss that word in a minute, that has both endpoints on the circle that passes through the center. It is twice the size of the radius. And so first let's discuss the word chord. A chord touches any parts of the circle. So if the outside of the circle. So that's a chord. I could draw another one. This is a chord. From here to here is a chord. So as long as I'm touching a point on the outside of the circle, then that's a chord. So I'm going to erase that. The diameter is a special chord. So it does touch points on the circle, but it also, and this is important, passes through the center. So it must pass through the center, and both endpoints are on the circle. So, again, I need a center point, and it doesn't matter what direction I draw this in, as long as I touch the outside of the circle, another point on the circle, that is a diameter, if it goes through the center point. So would you please now draw another diameter? And I'm going to choose to draw my diameter horizontally. So that's a diameter. When we work with that, sometimes it's easy to get those two confused. So here's a way, Mrs. Nord's way, to keep that straight. So would you draw a circle? And then from the center point, I want you to go straight up. I want you to draw a radius that goes straight up. And then I want you to darken in this curve, just part of this circle. And that looks like the letter R. And you notice we just started at the center, went up. So that is a radius. Now we're going to do something similar for the diameter. Would you please draw a circle again? And this time we want to also draw that center point. And again, we have to have a line that touches the outside of the circle, goes through the center, and touches the outside. But this time we're going to make a D out of this. So the diameter goes all the way through the center from end to end of the circle, and the radius just starts halfway and goes to one point on the circle. So that hopefully will help you remember that. And what I didn't mention is that when we talk about the diameter, we represent it usually with a D. And usually it's a small case D, but that capital D will help us remember that. So number one says, if we know the radius of the circle, we blank by blank to find the diameter of the circle. So if we know the radius, we can multiply by 2 to get the diameter. So let's look at this. If I had a radius and I multiplied this length, say this was 3 inches, if I multiplied by 3 inches and went the other way, I'd have a diameter. So if I just extended this twice, it would make a diameter. Next, it says if we know the diameter of a circle, we blank by blank to find the radius of that same circle. So we divide by 2. So if I look at this length right here, if I look at this diameter, well, it's like having two radius. So if I just divide it in half, say I chop it here and I only take this part, then that's the radius. If I divide it by 2, it's going to give me the length. So let's say of the radius. If I call this diameter 10 and I divide 10 by 2, I'm going to get 5. And this radius would be 5, and this radius would be 5. So we're going to practice this, and we're going to make up our own measurements. So if we start, it says for the circles below, decide whether you're given a radius or a diameter, then find the measurement of the one you're not given. So we're going to give ourselves one. So first we have to look at this, and I can see that this goes the full length across, goes through the center and touches endpoints on the circle all the way across. So this is a diameter. So we're going to use the letter D, and we're going to make up a measurement. I'm going to say that this is 12 centimeters. So we're going to write down 12 centimeters. So if the diameter is 12 centimeters, we just discussed, if we want to find the radius of that same circle, we have to divide by 2. So we're going to take 12, divide it by 2, and that's going to give us the radius of that same circle. So that would be 6 centimeters. So if I look at this, this would make sense. If I divided 12 in half, it would give me 6 centimeters for this radius. And if I look at it, it's like having another radius. It's another 6 centimeters, but I only want one radius. Next, let's look at the second example. Okay, I can see that this starts at the center, but just touches one point on the circle. So this is a radius, and again, we represent that with R, and we're going to make up this measurement. Let's call it 4 centimeters. So we're given the radius as 4 centimeters, and in order to find the diameter, we have to multiply it by 2. So that would be like going all the way across, 2 of them. So 2 times 4 would be 8, so the diameter of this same circle would be 8 centimeters. So if I look at this particular circle, again, this is a radius, and let's make up a measurement. So we're going to say R for radius, and let's say this is 10 inches. So what I'd like you to do is figure out what you think the diameter is. Well, if I have a radius and I multiply it by 2, then I'm going to get 20 inches. And the last example, well, I see this goes a line that touches the outside of the circle, goes through the center, and touches another point on the outside of the circle. So this is a diameter. And let's make up another measurement. Let's say that this is, let's make it 7 inches. So this is a diameter, 7 inches. But if I want to find the radius, I have to divide it in 2. Divide it by 2. I just want half of it. So 7 divided by 2 would give me 3 and 5/10, so I could say 3.5 inches. So now what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to practice the following page. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.